Hello viewers, Super GT here. Now, very recently I was at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and I managed to get a hands-on with Forza Motorsport 7 and Project Cars 2. So over in the Porsche stand we had a couple of these pods. Here we are, by Fanatec. Very nice bits of equipment. And yeah, so I got hands-on with both the games. And this is it then, my very first gameplay of Forza Motorsport 7 with me behind the wheel. Now, a couple of things that I must explain first. So obviously it's on a wheel, where typically I play Forza on a controller, so that is different compared to what I normally play. And also assists, as you can see the line is on, but also what might not be so obvious, all of the other assists are on. So ABS is on, TCS is on, auto brake is on, the assisted braking. So this run I didn't actually learn too much about the physics because the car was really just being driven by itself. So I mean, it was braking by itself. I didn't have to press the brake pedal once. All I had to do was just press the accelerator. I didn't get a chance to go back and play it without the assists. I wanted to enter the hot lap competition, which, well, there was just a hot lap competition, whoever could set the quickest lap, so I thought I'd try that and then go back later to try with the assist off, but the queue was so long later on that I just did not get the chance, unfortunately. But I'm sure it won't be too long before I get a proper try. But anyway, as I was saying, it's on a wheel and I typically play this game on a controller, so I was never going to learn a huge amount. But what I can say is that on the wheel it did feel very nice compared to my experiences of Forza Motorsport 6 on a wheel. This was definitely better. It was easier to control the car. That's for sure. That's definite. So they definitely have done work on how the wheel feels on this game. As for whether it will be equal with the controller in terms of overall speed, I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't think it will be. But that's just my early opinion at the moment. We don't really know for sure until the game comes out. But for now, I'm just waiting for an opportunity basically to play on the controller. Now this is the new circuit in the United Arab Emirates, I believe. So it's a fairly it's a long track. The record I was trying to beat here was a 2:45. You can actually see my reflection there as we go through the tunnel. I got so much screen glare, and when I was playing this, we had a big window behind us, so when we go through these tunnels, I really could not see much at all. So luckily, I had that line on, actually telling me where to go. But yeah, this new circuit is quite a lengthy one. So as you can see, just crossing the line, under 3 minutes, so quite a long lap. Although I'd estimate that with a controller and all of the assists off, manual with clutch as well, I reckon we'll probably go into the 220s, something like that, because we're doing a 245, 246. I think the record was 245 on that day that I was there. I managed to do a 246. But then again, as I was saying, the car wasn't being driven by me really. It was all of the assists driving the car for me. But with all those assists off, I can go a lot quicker. Now another thing you can see there, the fact that the game doesn't have the wheel on the screen. So, you know what, I didn't really notice that, to be honest. It didn't really put me off or anything. In fact, a lot of games do that. They take away the wheel, so the wheel in front of you becomes the wheel. I'm not sure how that would feel when you're playing on the controller in the cockpit view. That might feel a bit weird not having a wheel there. But I don't really play on that view, so again, not really something that I'll be focusing on too much. This track though, it felt okay actually. It felt quite nice. I'd like to drive it on a controller, but it did feel fairly decent. It did really feel like a road. It is based off a real road. It didn't really feel so much like the previous showcase circuits, like we had Rio, Prague, Bernese Alps. Those did feel like genuine street circuits. Or not Bernese Alps, but Rio and Prague did. This one really does just feel like a road. It does have a good feel in that sense, and I would definitely like to try out some hot lapping around here. The racing aspect would be very interesting around this kind of track, I would think. I'm not sure it would make for the best kind of races. Probably wouldn't want to use this track in league racing, I don't think. It doesn't really suit that kind of racing, but you know, we'll see. Again, when the game comes out, we'll have to see on that. So coming up towards the end of the lap, it opens up a little bit more here, the circuit. So you've got a lot of twisty stuff at the beginning, and at the end here, you've got more open corners, fast flowing open corners. This fast left into the tunnel can be fairly tricky to see. So you've got a lot of sand blowing across the circuit, making it very difficult to see your lines, especially in this viewpoint, which I'm not used to. And again, we can see my beautiful face on the reflection as we come out of the last corner. This is the last corner here through the tunnel, so quite a long tunnel actually. And I was aiming for that 245, but I was just a bit above, so it's a 240 now. And as we come across the line, it was eventually a 246. I was just shy of beating the record. But there we go, that's some Forza 7 gameplay. We then moved to some Project Cars 2 stuff, and this was awesome. This was like some sort of augmented reality. So I've got a VR headset on, as you can see, or you might be able to see there. And what you can see on the screen isn't really what you can see in the headset. In the headset, there's really good perception of depth in the headset. So you actually have it's almost like you can see your gloves reaching the wheel, and the depth of that looks quite good. The graphics aren't totally amazing in that VR, but I guess there's room for improvement in that sense, but that's not really the point. I think the point is just more the simulation, how good the simulation feels, and it really did feel good, Project Cars 2. And I was one of the many people who's very sceptical and complained a lot on day one based on how bad Project Cars 1 was with the controller. So I want this game to succeed. I want good racing games. It's as simple as that. So I'm definitely not a Forza fanboy. I want this game to work as well. And if it does work, I would absolutely love that. It has to work on the controller. It has to work. If it doesn't work on day one with the controller, I can see this series just going downhill and dying, maybe. But I do have a wheel now, so I don't really have much excuse. I should just play this game on the wheel. I think it is better suited to that. But on the grand scheme of things, it is on a console. It has to be fully playable on the controller. So just one more lap left. Now, Lage was actually here working for Bentley. This is in the Bentley stand, and he managed to set a 44.0. So I was a good couple of seconds off. But these are my first few laps on the game and on this kind of simulator. It is quite strange when you brake and then the whole thing jolts forward. It is quite a weird feeling. But there we go. That's pretty much going to wrap this one up, guys. There's not too much to say at this early stage, really. Playing on the wheel on Forza, I mean, I didn't learn a huge amount apart from the graphics. The graphics are obviously very, very good. But that is going to be the end. Do ask in the comment section if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them for you. And I shall see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.